Metallic Material Management Transformation Program. Please help me welcome Laurent, and I will note we will be open for Q&A, so as you're listening, have your questions ready. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Therefore, I will introduce the Airbus demand in terms of titanium, but beyond the Airbus demand, what is our strategic intent in terms of material. The first slide to remember what's Airbus today. Therefore, we are a commercial aircraft, helicopters, and space satellite and launcher company. Nevertheless, the titanium demand is mainly coming from the commercial aircraft business. We have a fully comprehensive line of product from single-aisle, long-range, and very large aircraft. The main demand for titanium is coming from the single-aisle neo aircraft, the 330 neo aircraft, both having full titanium pylons, and of course the A350 XWB, which has full titanium pylon, but also a lot of titanium in its structure due to the CFRP composition. This industry is in a fast growth trend. Today, Airbus has delivered, since its creation, 11,400 aircraft, and we still have 50% of that volume to be delivered in firm order. We have today a backlog which is in the range of 1,000 billion, corresponding to 7,400 aircraft to come. If we are looking about what are our main challenge this year, main challenge this year is deliver, deliver, and deliver. We are in a very aggressive ramp-up. We will deliver by the end of the year more than 800 aircraft. You know that we have some industrial challenges, especially in the range of the Neo family. Nevertheless, now the industrial system is back to, let's say, deliver, and we are racing to deliver our target, which is looking so far so good. Therefore, really, this delivery trend that we see today ramping up is, let's say, planned to be continued next year and the years to come. In parallel, we continue to invest in our products and we continue to bring new product to the market. This year, only for this year, we have introduced the A350-900 ultra long range that will allow airlines to open new routes. We have certified a few weeks ago the A330 Neo, which is a very nice product, let's say, between the A321 and the A350. And as you have probably seen in the press, we have now a new baby in the family, the A220, by the integration of this product into Airbus and taking 51% of the control of this program. Therefore, we are working on those three developments and more to come. If you are looking about, let's say, what are the long-term challenge, we have a demand forecast which is extremely consistent with our competitors, showing that for the next 20 years, we have a bit more than 34,000 aircraft in the forecast. This is mixed between renewal of the fleet, more or less 1/3, and the rest is linked to the growth of this market. When you are looking about what type of product feed this forecast, you will see that single-aisle has a very important portion of that, but also wide body, which is A350. The good news for you is that these two programs are the program having the highest level of titanium in their definition. Looking a bit, let's say, where this is bringing us. We have today a strong backlog. This is creating a long-term visibility, meaning that in terms of policy in Airbus, and in terms of sourcing policy, we are really committed to long-term approaches and long-term partnership. The strong backlog is allowing us, let's say, to plan what's coming and create visibility for any investor, any company willing to be in our program. Airbus, in the same time, is not sleeping on its backlog, and we continue to invest in our product line. We will have one slide on that, but we are for sure making sure that our product remain on the leading edge of this industry, and we continue to invest to make sure that Airbus and its partner will continue to run the show tomorrow. On the aircraft development, we have just finalized the A350 development. It was a brand new technology product with the introduction of CFRP. We delivered this product in terms of program on time, and its operation, the feedback from the airline is just outstanding. This is a very important element for us because those programs are multi-billion programs, and having the ability to master our development on time, on quality, and to deliver upon our commitment to the customer is a key element for us, but also for our supply chain partners. What are our, let's say, in terms of procurement and sourcing, our strategic intent for the next 3 years? Well, it's more or less the consequence of what I just shared with you. Three top objectives. The first one, it's about capacity. We have a huge rate evolution, and we are currently ramping up everywhere in Airbus, but also in the value chain to be able to face this ramp up. This is a key message to you. All along the titanium value chain, everybody has to be ready for those ramp up. The second is delivery performance. We are now at very high rate of delivery. Having a material, a part, not arriving on time or on quality is not anymore acceptable in terms of disturbance for our factories. Therefore, we are raising the standard, and this is an important message. We are now needing on time and on quality product every time for every delivery. That's a big challenge for this aerospace industry, which is quite new. And the last one, it's cost. We are in a very competitive market. The competition is quite fierce, and we have to constantly make effort in terms of competitivity to deliver product at the cost the airlines are ready to buy them. Therefore, what, let's say, Airbus brings in terms of value proposition is a very long-term visibility, and what we are expecting from our partners is really to work on those three main axes. Make sure that we can deliver the rates we have to deliver, secure delivery on time, on quality, and to be constantly working on your competitiveness in order that we can answer our customer expectation in terms of price level. To be a bit more precise in terms of titanium demand, over the last almost, let's say, 10 years, we have doubled our titanium demand. The main driver for that is, of course, the introduction of new engines requiring, let's say, more titanium in the pylon area, but it's also the introduction of the composite aircraft, which is bringing much more titanium. What we foresee beyond 2020 is more or less a stabilization of that demand. Why? Because we will have more or less the rates reaching their maximum. We will continue to ramp up, especially on single aisle. Nevertheless, we are working in parallel on what we call buy-to-fly, meaning consumptions of material optimization. Therefore, we should have a certain equilibrium between rate increase and raw material optimization. The massive introduction of titanium, I share with you this ratio. You have 18 times more titanium on the new long-range generation, the X350 XWB, than the A330. This is generating significant cost increase in the aerostructure. And this is a challenge that we have to work because we still have a huge waste in the end-to-end value chain. For Airbus is working with many of you, and we will continue to do optimization of this buy-to-fly ratio. And that's clearly something that we are really committed, and we believe this industry has some opportunity to do much better. A key element, Airbus on titanium is used to long-term partnership contracts. We are currently in the end of the last 10 years contract that has been signed at the beginning of the decade, and we will launch by the end of this year the call for tender for the next decade. Therefore, we will start by the end of this year to launch the request for information and request for proposal, aiming to select, beginning of the next decade, our partners on the titanium raw material delivery for a decade again. In terms of development, this slide is just to share with you what are the drivers when we are selecting the main element of a new design. And I have highlighted here the driver for materials. When we are introducing a new development, the material selection is very often the very first choice you make in terms of architecture. Therefore, it's very early in your design that you will select which material you will go for. You have two drivers. The first one is, does the material create additional value on the product, meaning weight reduction mainly, in order to reduce the fuel consumption of the aircraft or to increase the range of the aircraft? But today we have reached, let's say, such a level that this driver is still there, but is not the main driver on material selection. The second element is the cost, the competitivity of this material, not on the product itself, but on the full manufacturing process. This is really where the battle will continue to be there. And my key message is, when you are looking for innovation, we should look about developing the new material or the future material to reduce weight on an aircraft, but also we need to work on innovating on the industrial process to reduce the cost, and especially to improve the famous buy to fly, to reduce the waste. What we see more and more is competition between material. With the A350XWB aircraft in composite, Airbus has a first experience on this material, and we have now the ability, let's say, to really push a little bit our trade-off between metallic solution or composite solution. On top of that, due to our long-term visibility and our order book, we are an industry which has an ability to invest on very long term. Therefore, we have more and more actors willing to be stepping in this industry, and whatever the material, capable to take a position. The message I would like to share with you is that on the metallic, we are talking here titanium, but also aluminum. If we are not improving the waste ratio we have today, we will have more and more challenge with other material, especially composite or thermoplastic. We have, of course, when we are putting composite in an aircraft, more titanium content. Nevertheless, today, in the percentage of, let's say, part in titanium, a certain percentage are linked to the need to match composite with titanium, but some are pure structural parts. Those structural parts, which are mainly forgings, could be moving to composite tomorrow. And that's something where we need to work all together. Airbus believes that if we work together on near net shape, we had an interesting presentation before, the material should remain the material of choice. But if we are not working on near net shape, if we are not reducing the waste, there is clearly potentially the opportunity to do material trade-off with alternative material solutions. We have spent the last 15 years to develop new product in Airbus. We have developed, if you look since the beginning of the 2000, the A380, the 350, the Neo now, and now we have a very comprehensive product line, from single-aisle, long range to very large aircraft. Therefore, Airbus is making an evolution in terms of, let's say, development policy and development strategy. We will continue to work on the very long term, let's say, big breakthrough. Thinking about a brand new architecture, developing a new aircraft which is capable really to bring a performance step. But in the same time, because we have a very good product line, we are able, like we did with the Neo, to introduce major evolutions. For that's a key message we would like to share with you. When we are talking about innovation, we don't limit our projects to the next, let's say, brand new aircraft. We need also to think about using innovation to innovate on the current fleet. And Airbus, as demonstrated on the Neo, will continue to be able to introduce in our product policy major mods and major evolutions. Don't miss that opportunity. Don't look only about the brand new aircraft. We will continue to work on that, but in the meantime, we will make major evolution of our aircraft, and here innovation on material is possible. Additive manufacturing, we just had a very nice video from Norsk. Airbus continue to invest heavily on additive manufacturing. The development is ongoing. We have our challenges. Airbus is mainly working on hard metal, titanium in Connell. And we are looking about the opportunity to use additive on the full life cycle, meaning to use additive when we are at the very early stage, prototyping, tooling, using additive in series, or using additive for the after-sales market for spares, for example. The introduction of additive in the aerospace, we have a challenge, which is the qualification. To match the qualification requirement of aerospace with additive is a clear challenge. We are working on that. We are working hard and progressing quite well. And we hope that in the coming months, we should be able to make some announcement on that topic. Nevertheless, we have to confess that today, the maturity of this technology to move to serial production remains too low. And we still have to work on the technology, on the post-processing of additive also, to make this technology really competitive and capable to reach, at least on some perimeter, serial production. Therefore, we are going to work on that, and we are really calling this industry to think about how we could work more end-to-end in order to create value and to take this opportunity of additive manufacturing in the years to come. I wouldn't be complete if I'm not speaking about the geopolitical context. We have seen in the past months some events that have created uncertainty. Of course, we are managing that on a case by case, but the key message we would like to share with you is that it will not change our philosophy in terms of sourcing policy. Airbus, despite those uncertainty, we will manage them, we will address them, but we will stick to our long-term contract policy. We will continue to have partnership approaches, and of course, we will manage with our partners those evolutions or those, let's say, challenges. Nevertheless, we will continue to have long-term contract on raw material. The launch of the call for tender by the end of this year for the next decade on titanium will be the best demonstration of that commitment to Airbus to this industry. Thank you.